But you saw on the last page that factors are numbers that you multiply together to get to a new number. Common factors are factors that are shared by two or more numbers, and then the greatest common factor is the greatest or the biggest of those common factors. So you see in this example, we listed the factors of 12, the factors of 16, and we looked, what's the biggest one they have in common? And we could see that 4 was the biggest, or the greatest is the term that we're using. So to go over example 1, it says find the GCF of 24 and 40. So GCF means greatest common factor. And you can see over here that it wants us to do that using a list of factors. So we have to know our factors, which is super easy if we know our multiplication facts. And so to find the factors of 24, we looked and we said, okay, 1 and 24, right? 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. And then we did the same thing for 40. So 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, 5 and 8. It's really important that you go through and make sure you're getting them all. Something I did when I was your age is I would go, okay, 1 goes into it. Does 2 go into it? Does 3? And I would go all the way up until I couldn't anymore because I had listed all of them. So that's what we did here. And then you can see that 8 is circled because 8 was the greatest common factor. So it's important to circle the factors and so the common factors and then take a look and see which one's the greatest. So I'm going to do an example of 15 and 25. So we write 15, we write 25 because these are our factors. Let me make sure my pen turned off for a second. All right, there we go. So my factors of 15, I know 1 goes into 15, 2 doesn't, 3 does, 4 doesn't, 5 does, 6 doesn't, 7 doesn't, 8 doesn't, 9 doesn't. I think I can go all the way up, but I'll make sure 10 doesn't, 11 doesn't, 12 doesn't, 13, 14, they all don't, but 15 does. And that makes sense because 1 times 15 is 15, 3 times 5 is 15, and there's not another way to do it with a non-zero whole number. So then I'm going to do 25 next. So I know 1 does. I know 2 doesn't since it's odd. 3 doesn't, 4 doesn't, 5 does because 5 times 5. I mean, I only have to list that 5 one time. I don't have to list it 2 times. So I have my 5, 6 doesn't, 7. I can go all the way up and I'm testing them in my head and I think I can get all the way to 25 and I can't think of anything else that goes into 25, but I double check, I make sure in my head. And now I'm going to circle the common factors. So I'll go ahead and circle those. I have 5. Ooh, and 1's a common factor too, which 1's a common factor of everything. So it looks like my biggest number, my greatest number that these two have in common of the factors would be 5. So 5 would be my GCF.